from here. Over on 3rd Avenue, there was an ICE action that took place. An individual from a car that was in the middle of a pretty significant street was detained. They left the car in the middle of the street. The car wasn't even in park, and so you've got this vehicle that is just rolling down the street with nobody in it. And it wasn't a Waymo. This was a car that was rolling down the street that could have hit anybody, including my own family members that live not too far from there. And so this is not about safety, clearly. If this was about safety, you wouldn't do stupid things like that. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody has gotten killed. And so that's not the route as to how you do any of these exercises productively or safely. And that's what we're saying. Yes?
Looking ahead tonight for night 5, ICE isn't leaving. DHS is sending more officers. How concerned are you about temper spraying, people getting tired, exhausted, and things turning bad?
Yeah. I mean, concern, of course, is the name of the game. We are constantly monitoring what is taking place, not just the actions on the street, but also the energy of our police officers, our firefighters, our first responders that in many cases haven't gotten a whole lot of sleep. They're working really hard right now. So, I mean, I just think it's common sense that, anybody, if you're tired or you're hungry or you're sick or you're forced to make a split-second decision when you're tired or you're hungry or you're sick, you're more likely to make a mistake. We don't want mistakes being made. And so I'm so appreciative of their work. I'm really grateful for it. And again, I want to reiterate this. I am really grateful for so many community members. I saw this video, I think it was yesterday, where you had this agitator, clearly from the far right, that was coming in and trying to rile up the crowd. He was trying to make the crowd do something that they shouldn't be doing. He was trying to make the crowd take the bait so that they would give the authorization, or at least an excuse, for the Trump administration to come in even more. It was so awesome that not only was the crowd not taking the bait, they were basically blowing them off. They were grinning down the bear. And I think that is emblematic of what's happening in Minneapolis right now. We are grinning down the bear. We are meeting a whole lot of despair with a lot of hope. We are doing right. We are being strategic. And yes, for those that aren't being strategic, for those that are taking the bait and causing property damage or otherwise, there are consequences. We're holding the line here all the way.
Related to the shooting, I understand the officer, the ICE officer who shot this woman was treated at a hospital. Can you elaborate a bit on the nature of that, any injuries, where he was treated, when he was treated, how long he was in the medical care?
I think you're referencing the ICE agent, and I don't have any information on that. Do you? No, we don't know.
So this is a fine line that we have to walk, because unfortunately there's a whole lot of people that once we inject ourselves into a situation, then want to turn their frustration and their anger on us. So what we do is we act very strategically with restraint. We take our time to ensure that we have sound tactics, a good plan, and move in so that we can keep the safety of law enforcement as well as the safety of community in mind. What happened last night at one point was we still have everything else that happens in American cities happening. Our police officers had to respond to a 911 call that a woman who had an altered mental status had driven her car up onto a sidewalk and was blocking a parking access. So the police responded there, and we're dealing with that issue when they were unexpectedly and quite quickly surrounded by protesters at that march. And as we have seen, it is our police officers that then become the object of people's frustration. So because there was a safety element there, we quickly responded in and got those officers out, and then immediately formed up well over 200 police officers with a sound plan, began videotaping the actions that were happening and making the announcements and taking our time and allowing people who were not involved in illegal activity to legally disperse. But once it became clear, I think it was around 10:15 that we declared that. Once it became clear that there were individuals that were not going to abide by our direction to leave, they were placed under arrest. So the question was that we have canceled all days off and recalled personnel to duty. So the level or percent of people who are responding to events around this, I would say is close to 100%. So we have officers, obviously, that are conducting their normal duties and responding to 911 calls, but then they're also being held over and they're being held on standby, if not being assigned to post up in locations. Last night, as obviously we were dealing with over 200 officers at the scene to execute the unlawful assembly and dispersal order. We were also posting other police officers around downtown to ensure that we did not have additional destruction. So it is quite literally almost 100% of every sworn member of the department.
Were you getting 911 calls specifically about immigration enforcement? People saying, I saw ICE officers do X or Y?
The question was getting 911 calls specifically about immigration enforcement, and yes, there's just dozens and dozens every single day, ranging from anything from people seeing arrests happening, or they seeing surveillance, or they seeing individuals that they're not sure that are ICE, to the things that I mentioned, that there's cars that are now left abandoned because someone was detained.
We'll do one more.
She's been had her hand up.
Yeah.
Both Sarah and the Christian Science Monitor, what is the status of both of your offices' communication with DHS?
So the question was the status of communication with DHS. We have ongoing communication with all of federal law enforcement in Minnesota, and that's because we do have work that goes on and continues to go on, addressing gang violence, drug dealing, and serious street crime. So there is ongoing communication with our officers and federal agents literally every single day. It's just that there is not. There's a line. There's a separation between communication around those issues and communication around immigration enforcement. There is none.
Thanks, everybody.
Next question.
Oh, shoot. Okay. No, you can mention that.